I'm not sure who would have the matchup in an actual battle here. I guess, like, technically, Brock, he uses ground types. Good against poison. But then again, I don't know. We're not gonna get we're not gonna get into Pokemon. We're playing some puzzles right now.
Yeah. Because I don't remember. I think lightning is good against air, or maybe isn't good against air. I don't know. So Voltorb's a good counter pick.
So we got two important things to note here. We're now playing on level 8, which is actually can be a drastic step. All the timing is a little bit tighter, and you have less time to react to things. There's no new color introduction yet, but it's still pretty difficult. And Pawn, ooh, barely gets to that clear. Along with that, as you see, we toggled the zeros at the top. This is going to be best 2 out of 3 sets. So once they win 3 Pokeballs in a row, they'll get 1 point at the top, and it's the first to get 2. So this should be a longer set now. Though with the caliber of these players, you could say matches might go a little bit... Oh, I'm not sure what Peter was doing there.
Yeah, I was kind of lost. Maybe Peter was lost too. He just couldn't see anything, but
I think Peter was trying to finish his Smash match in the other bracket really quick. Yeah, that happens every once in a while. Whether I think he mentioned that he was looking at Pawn's screen, trying to figure out what he was doing. And that can happen from time to time. Or I've even had points where I just like space out when garbage is sent to me and I don't do any clears whatsoever. But yeah, level 8 showing its colors right now.
Yeah.
We're going to have some quick deaths back and forth. It's already starting to be a close game right now. And both these players, since they've been playing a lot of net play, know a lot of the optimal garbage sends to take out your opponent pretty quickly.
Work harder, young one.
Peter not able to find anything right here, but Pawn with a really good 7 chain with some combos mixed in there. Peter opts just to kind of play defensively, try to get something going here.
Yeah, very smart. He gives himself plenty of panels to work with. And now he's got this big chain at the top. And this is actually one of the best situations you can put yourself in. Because you don't have to wait out that long clear animation as long as the stack's still pretty tall. So he took his time, got a decent send here. And now the block is still towards the top. And he can still take his time clearing it out. But Pawn has cleared a lot of the garbage sent by Peter so far. So Peter's going to have to speed it up just a little bit here.
Ooh, Peter's in trouble. Doesn't quite get a clear at the top. Can't quite solve the puzzle. So yeah, Pawn has two Pokemon left, whereas Peter only has 1. See if Pawn can kind of take this first game.
And I was talking about how beneficial it can be to have your stack that tall, but at the same time, it can be a little bit hard to survive, as you saw on Peter's screen there. He kind of had too many panels to where he didn't know what he wanted to do. And now Pawn's going to start off the same way, maybe found Peter's weakness here from the get-go. He hasn't been starting off his chains too hot. This time his stack's going to be lower, so now Pawn's got plenty of time. And Peter's just going to have to accept it and build some big chain here and continue to survive afterward. Because look at Pawn. Going to be dropping these modest chains, 5s and 4s over and over again. And that's going to be really detrimental probably for Peter here. Peter down stacks. Oh, I think he was too focused on the purples and he had his blues just 1 clear away. Wasn't able to get to him, unfortunately. And that's going to be the first point for Pawn right now.
Yeah, and Peter was smart. Before he died there, he ended up, even though he was in the middle of clearing the garbage, he sent over some garbage of his own, kind of I like to think of it as keeping the other player honest and not letting them just pile up small chain after small chain, kind of give them something to keep them preoccupied while you're clearing your own garbage.
All right, so we're into set 2 now. Let's see if Peter can compose himself. I feel like Peter's one of the most technically skilled players in the community. I think he maybe gets ahead of himself too much because I think he makes a lot more technical flubs than I see most players make. But when he's on it, his pressure is really, really hard to deal with. Pawn's just showing this nice consistency right now, though, and it's really hard for Peter to try to take over. And yeah, there's that small pressure sim for Pawn again. Peter reacts accordingly, though. He's going to be able to survive a little bit. And he's smart. Moves over the blue at the last second there so he could line it up and continue his chain. There we go. Peter getting some good pressure now, and he's going to be the one that's in the advantageous spot. Peter not quite topped off, and Pawn's going to have to try to find a chain. Oh, separated pillars on Pawns.
Yeah, I think this is one of the first, or one of the few times in the set so far that Peter's kind of been the one dominating the pace. So now we'll get to see how he's reacting, because Pawn was like definitely giving a lot of small garbage, and it looks like Peter's doing the same.
Yep. Pawn's able to find some chains here and there, but it's not going to be enough to top off Peter yet. And he's at like a middle stack of panels, which is pretty hard to find chains most of the time. So he's probably just going to have to keep playing defensive and find his clears until he has a good amount of panels, and then just unleash something very big here at the end. But it's still pretty hard. He gets another 3 chain, but look, Peter's going to be able to clear out a bulk of this garbage here with that clear. Pawn buffering clears, looking to find something, gets the greens though. Pawn's survival game is on point right now. But despite that, I mean, Peter he's had the easy road so far for this game. Pawn's still doing some modest chains, gets the greens, but he's still in a little bit of a tough situation. Gets the purples. This may be his opportunity to strike back and put some pressure on Peter. All these panels on the screen, a lot of combos matching up. Still doesn't top off Peter, but we got something big coming in. Separated pillars can't be good, though. He gets rid of his blues. Oh! I wouldn't say that was a mistake, but kind of just like hurrying your clears a little bit, because that would have been an easy way to get him out of that situation. But he was on the defensive for so long that match, it was going to be hard for him to try to come back. So Peter, very good with all the harassment that we saw after he had Pawn topped off at the beginning. And now he's going to be the one with a small lead here in this set. Both players with pretty good sized chains here at the beginning, neither going to be topped off, and now they'll have some time to see what kind of follow-ups they'll get here.
And yeah, I will note that Pawn sends a little more, and sometimes even just the smallest garbage advantage at the beginning can really mean a lot for a set. So we'll see if he can kind of keep that lead going. And as we see, he sends a really big chain to Peter.
Ooh, Pawn gets rid of almost all of his panels here at the bottom. Both players going to live, though. Peter, it was like 20 seconds ago when he was working on that initial garbage block. He sent like what could have been a 9 combo, but he cut it off right at the end to save himself some panels to continue to clear. It was a very smart play by him, and that's how he's able to continue sending more and more pressure. 7 chain coming in, and he should have these purples lined up to continue clearing the garbage. This is the point of the game where you'll see probably both of the players playing defensive, because you'll see them keep clearing one another's garbage, and since they gotta react fast the whole time, you can still try to do some like smaller garbage to catch your opponent off guard, but most of the time they're just going to be going for whatever they can, and sometimes that can end up being more and more big chains. which was happening in that game, but unfortunately Peter, trying to extend his chain at the bottom, just couldn't find the clears he wanted in enough time, so tie game here in the second set.
I'm gonna take you down.
Yeah, you see Peter going for the frame tricks there. Not quite able to get it, though.
Can't win 'em all.
And I have to think probably playing a lot of panel tech can throw you off on that too. I know we mentioned a lot of like changes and timings and stuff, and that's one of the big things that can be influenced if you try to do like frame perfect or 3-frame tricks in this game. A lot of those timings are different. Sometimes you have to do it a couple frames earlier in Puzzle League. Alright, Peter in trouble. He goes for the blues. Smart clears on his end. Buffered enough time to keep himself alive. And now Pawn's going to be in a little bit of a troublesome situation.
Can't win 'em all. Can't win 'em all.
Gets those reds though, and now both players looks like they're not going to be topped off completely here, so they're going to have to build up some kind of chain, which is what Pawn's doing right now. 4-chain going to put some modest pressure on Peter, but Pawn's going to be the one in a more desperate situation right now.
Win 'em all.
Oh, yeah, and just like that quick garbage sent by Peter just falling on top. Pawn had those greens one clear away, but sometimes your brain just makes you do something else instead of looking what's right in front of you, because as you saw, he moved his cursor to the left, and that happens all too often when trying to analyze the whole board at the same time. So now Peter, one game away from tying up this set 1-1. Let's see if he can keep up this momentum.
Take you down.
Oh, there's a lot of good pressure on Peter's side. This is going to have Pawn topped off. He's going to have those greens, which he's going to smartly save until the garbage falls.
Can't win 'em all.
But I'd say this is in Peter's favor once again. Sending this small pressure. He's not going to have anything immediately lined up here, though.
Can't win 'em all.
Has the reds. Ooh, that was... The stack raised up as you saw the blocks kind of win the squished format, which means your stop time is going to start ticking away. That could have been death for Peter. Good reaction by him. And that's what you need at this level of play. It's just going to be a lot of reactions back and forth.
I'm gonna take you down.
Pawn going for it all here, uses up a lot of his panels. He just had those purples to save him, but it might be good here. Peter getting some change dropping in place, but he's still got to down stack a little bit. He does so and finds the blues. When your matches start to get to that 1.5 minute mark, this is where players are more prone to start making mistakes.
Can't win 'em all.
The match has been going on so long, you maybe start losing your focus a little bit.
I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna take you down.
Yeah, mostly just pay attention to the way they try to clear these, because now Peter has let up on his pressure a little bit here.
Oh, Peter's trying to get those greens horizontal to lead into the reds to get the clear, but wasn't quite able to set it up right. So we're gonna have a game 5 situation in this second set of games, and this is a must-win for Peter. So hopefully he can keep up the pressure, keep going strong, and we can get to set 3.
Yeah, if Pawn manages to win this right now, he'll be sitting pretty in winner's side of grand finals, only needing to win one more set to take the tournament.
Can't win 'em all. I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna take you down.
I will say Peter's survival game is what killed him during the first set, but that's been getting a lot better as the second set has progressed. But as you saw towards the end of the last game, I think Pawn's pressure as the match goes on has just been stronger, and Peter just elects more for surviving and doesn't really get the follow-ups, and just that little 4 combo at the top falls on Peter there. And Pawn's going to take the set. He's going to find himself in winner's side grand final.